Once you've got them downloaded, please open the drawing that's called 135-6.dwt. Raise your hand if you need it one more time. Everybody did have this drawing on their desk, right? The information on it?
Mm-hmm.
You good, Missy?
Yes.
All right. Whenever you work off somebody else's drawing, folks, you should check this thing out. Now, I did throw some standard blocks in here for you, so you don't have to go to the design center for most of this stuff. If you look into that block area. Okay, so you do have a toilet, a sink, a range, a fridge, bathtub, dryer, washer. In case you want to go, a jacuzzi tub, bathroom, sink. Now, I don't know that you will have the opportunity, you do have one sliding door, and I think that's also in your floor plan.
What is that little thing, like looks like an eye in the wall? What is that for?
This one right here,
Yes.
that's for a floor joist. You won't use that on this. We actually have it, but well, you use it in, no, I think we're the other way on, nope, you won't use that one. Now, there is one block in here that I do want to show you how to use, because you will need this one. It's this guy right here. It's real small on there. This is the insulation block. This is drawn at a unit of 1, folks. And so what you do is you place this in where we're going to use fiberglass insulation. And so if you're going in a 2x4 wall, it's 3.5 inches. So you just take this, scale it by 3.5, and it'll fit right in there. If you're going in a 2x6 wall, it's 5. Just scale it by 5.5. If you look at drawing 3, the footing detail. Let me just show you how to use this thing. This is also in your footing template. So here you have it. We do have to insulate floors. They go to an R30. And the way you calculate them when we're not filling this whole thing in, fiberglass insulation is good for an R4 per inch, approximately. I think it's actually 3.25, something of that nature. We just figure it at 4. So in here I need an R30. So divide that by 4, that comes up with 8 inches. So just scale it by 8. You're going to have a note on it that tells them how to dimension it anyway. This one, R30. When you break those, kind of like this end one, you need to explode whatever your break lines go through. And then you can trim them back to make them look nice. We'll get back to this drawing in a minute. All right, first thing I want to do is go over the instructions of this, and then we'll go into how to do some of it. So let's just read this first bit. By the way, folks, take a minute to study this pamphlet. You are given it for a reason. Okay, don't rely on everything I'm telling you here. First off, this drawing is a little different. Projects designed to give the student practice in using advanced dimensioning, drawing, and file management techniques. Very rarely do we do a standalone drawing. And most of the time it is referencing other objects, right? We have mating things out there on this planet, and we need to understand that I might be dealing with one drawing here, and I've got to mesh them. And that's what this is about. Now, this is used by industry to control your plottable sheets that have multiple drawings and multiple scales on the same sheet. We try and minimize that, by the way, as much as possible. And in fact, I've put 3 different scales on this sheet. I don't know that I try never to do 3 scales on the same sheet because I'm getting a little too complicated for my readers. I have potential for error there. I think if you look through like that drawing sheet back there and you go through it, I don't know that you're ever going to find a sheet that has 3 different scales on it. Now 2, okay, we can handle that and people don't get too confused. You start throwing 3, 4, 5 different scales on a sheet, there's going to be mistakes. I'll guarantee you. I don't care how good the builder is, there will be mistakes made. And probably very expensive ones. So we want to be careful of that. I'm trying to push it as far as you should have to deal with in industry. Focus of the project is on using dimension styles and variables correctly to produce an accurate drawing. Okay. You're given 3 drawings. You've got 3 that you downloaded. 2 of them are templates. 1 is a drawing and it's full. So we're going to look at the different ways we do XREFs. You're limited to 1 sheet of plotting, so all 3 have to go on the same one. Your parent drawing, or the drawing that that will control everything that you're going to plot out of, is this one, the floor plan drawing. Where we have that, that's going to be the one we're really working with. The others we're just going to reference in. So on that one, here it is, 1/4 inch. You're doing architectural. We'll go through real quickly and set up a dim style on that. You're going to use a D sheet. You've got the plot already set up for you. You have 3 textiles. Arch 1 is going to be your general text. Well, that's all that. I think, where do I talk about the 3 textiles? Oh, I do that when I look at your drawing, never mind. So those are setting that up. So that's that one. This information right here goes with this drawing. Now there is some information at the bottom of this that was written by somebody who has wonderful hand lettering. So just to clarify here, you're removing the staircase, everything here goes here, you're leaving this wall. That's given right down here. Do not draw the scales, move the kitchen stove, everything else over. All your dimensions given are interior dimensions. So if you want to know the depth of this, it's the second one. We give width, depth, or width, height, however you want to think of it. In the architectural world, width is given first. So it's 14 plus 13 is 27 feet from there to there. Okay? And that is interior sides. Going this way, it's 22 plus 16 plus 26. And that will give you the width. You do have some windows and doors in here. Kind of weird setup. I would notice the symbols are about the same. Okay? But this is really a tough place to have a sliding door.
Yeah.
I don't know that I need 2 of them back to back. Okay, so just use your best judgment. We're not going to really look at the architectural components of materials. We don't have enough time for that. That will happen in drafting 156. But I would make one of these a sliding door, one of them a window. Okay. You do have these look like door symbols because notice this one is very similar to this one. This is a door. This is a casement window. And you will see a slight difference in that they gave this a seal on the bottom. But be that as may, I don't know that I would draw any of these casement windows. When you do a window, probably the most popular symbol to use in industry is the simplest. Okay. So when I'm drawing these, a window can be drawn with one line here, and one line in the middle is a real popular standard window system, symbol. And it goes with every single window regardless of what they are. Keep in mind that architectural, when you look at these dimensions, they're all location dimensions. Sizes in architectural are pulled out. We use a tabular dimension style in architectural. And almost always the sizes are pulled out in a table that we call a window schedule, a door schedule, these types of things. That's the tabular dimensioning style. So all you're doing is locations. So I'm going to put a window. Now, you do not need to do this, just to let you have a little bit of clarification. What I would do on this is it's probably going to have some symbol on it. Squares I use for doors, but I'll put it here. I'd have something like this that says A. That would then go out to a chart, and they would look at it and say, oh, that's a 4x2 horizontal slider, whatever the case might be. So just use the same symbol for all windows out there. By the way, well, we'll get to that in a second. When you're doing doors, like here's a front entry that's got 2 doors. I want to kind of cure this right off. This is the worst door symbol ever. Okay. Folks, please, please do not do door symbols that open 45 degrees. You know how many mistakes I've seen on that? That happen because you can't visualize it and that thing doesn't open, and then all of a sudden you're hitting a cabinet or you're hitting a closet. And you don't have a visual on your drawing, especially in bathrooms. Man, I see this all the time. And you'll see it too. I mean, how many of you have been in a bathroom and the cabinet's cut off at 45 degrees?
Yeah.
It's probably happened after the fact because they couldn't get the door open. We used to see it always in basements. Go down to the basement. How many of you have seen a basement door where you go down the stairs and the door's cut at the top? I used to see it like every third home back when I was a kid because the drafter had screwed up and not given enough room for opening the thing, and it would hit something. So you want to make sure, if you get this full one right here, if you've got some piece of equipment sitting right here or furniture, you're going to see if you hit it. Okay? So please use a full door opening. This will be a thin line. Just make them all the same, 3 foot wide. Okay? So if I made this a 3 foot door, this would be 36 inches, and this is 36 inches. Okay? From here to here. And then from this seal to the center, that's 36 also. Real quick to make this, draw a line 36 inches, draw a circle with here at the center, trim it off, walk away from it. Okay, it's a line and a circle that's trimmed. As far as your doors and windows, just keep them to an even foot if you would. Okay, and go ahead and make them whatever size you want. Let's see, what else to talk about this? The first thing you should do is just draw this thing in its entirety. There are some other notes at the bottom. Your exterior walls are drawn at 6 inches. So you know where this line is, the interior, right? This is an exterior wall, offset it out 6 inches, that's going to be this outside line. Okay, this is an exterior wall. This wall right here between the garage and the house is an exterior wall. In essence, it's not an exterior wall, but we consider it one because we've got to insulate it. Okay. All other walls in here are 2 by 4. And you're drawing those at 4.5 inches. Estimate all dimensions not given. Okay, so I would use proportions. Notice you don't have any sizes in here. We're not going to worry about all the codes and stuff. Just put your toilet, put your sink. What do you call those things that a sink sits in?
Vanity.
Vanity, thank you. Put a vanity in there. Usually, if you make that 2 by 2, you put it, and then just give them a little space on those. Yes, Cheryl?
When you talked about insulation, you said it was R30, which equals 8 inches.
Mm-hmm. It's actually about an R32.
Okay, that's what, I had the same thing, 32, because you said by our 30 by 40 to 8, am I that? And we're-
So it's actually 8 inches wide?
For the floor.
For
I don't think the floor.
For the floor?
Yeah, in the floor. That's the only place you're doing this. It's in the footing detail. See it up there in that floor cavity? And you haven't had time to analyze those drawings, so I'm sure you look at them. They're a little bit of grief till you get a chance to really look at them. You're looking at
Wall insulation.
underneath the house, the concrete and the pony wall, because there's floor joists that run through here.
So the exterior walls are 6 inches.
Yeah. And if you look at the wall detail, you'll see that same symbol down on the bottom of the wall, and that is an R21. But that's a code thing. Let's leave that for architectural. That's a big topic. Because it's not really an R21, it's actually an R19. Just skip all that. We don't want to go into that. We'll do all that in drafting 156, architectural drafting. Okay, you just draw the geometry. Got any questions on anything? Let me know. So you are drawing this in its entirety. Okay, and you're doing it in the 135-6 template. Now I'm going to zip to that template real quick. Now I did this on Friday, so I'm not going to do it again. But I will tell you folks, you need to look at this drawing and see how it is set up. Okay? Because it's somebody else's drawing. So look at your layers. Okay? When you look at those layers, look at the line weights, where should stuff go? Okay? You do have a doors and windows layer. Guess what goes on there? Okay, Missy, what would you put on the doors and windows layer?
Like what line type?
What piece of geometry?
Like the doors and the windows.
There, thank you, yes. Doors and windows go on that layer. The furniture layer is a generic thin layer. So this is your cabinets, it's your toilets, it's your fridge, it's anything like that. You have a walls layer, which is your OBJ layer. If you're going to do some hatching, you got the rest of them are pretty much our standard ones. That came off of our template. But look at those. You may add any layers that you wish. Look at your textiles. And I'm going to hit this and then I'll kind of, you do have 3 textiles. Your arch 1 is your general. Your arch 2 is 1/4 inch. That's your titles. Your arch 3 is your room titles. So the only arch 3 you're going to use is when you label the rooms. This is your arch 3 text. Right here and here. That should be 3/16, 3/16, 3/16, 3/16. Don't put these dimensions on here, just the room label.
So should we center them? Taken out.
Approximately in the center. Look at your dim styles. Actually, you don't have any. That's right, we're going to make that. I guess that's why it says as done in class. Please open your dim styles. Those of you that were here on Friday, we already did this. All right, first off, let's create it. So we're going to start. It's got your standard dim style here. Please stop me if you fall behind on this. In essence, we're going to go through this and you're going to see that almost everything is identical to the mechanical with a couple little tweaks. So how do we get a new dim style? We say new. Call it what you wish. I'm going to call mine Arch 1. You probably want to just click on dim anno while you're in this box. As soon as we make this, we'll take a break. I know I've been going quite a while here. Okay, so I hit continue. Lines tab. What did we change on lines for mechanical?
The baseline.
First one,
Not baseline. Baseline's 3/8. The DMEXE variable?
Wasn't it, didn't we leave it at 180?
Yeah. See, it's at 3/16. Okay. Put that to an 8. And it's much faster to type decimals if you want. Okay, that's all we change here, right? Go to Symbols and Arrows tab. We do use an architectural tick for dim block 1 and 2. Click your drop down arrow and choose architectural tick. We're not going to use the dim leader block because we'll use multi-leader and it's still a closed field arrow anyway. Dim arrow size, dim ASE, that should be an 8, right? And I think that's all we changed there. text tab.
What did we change to architectural?
Dim block 1, dim block 2, just 2 right here. Are you on the symbols and arrows tab?
I am.
Those, see arrowheads first, second?
Yes.
Does yours have closed arrow on there?
Ours has, mine has closed.
Click that drop down box and switch it.
Oh, there it is. I didn't see that, thank you.
Okay.
And you leave the center mark?
I don't really care. You don't really do a lot of center lines unless you're in the ag business and you're building silos. Circular items are tough to build. You gotta have some dollars to put those things together. So it doesn't really matter what you set it to, I guess would be the point there. Text tab. Your text style should be Arch 1. Dim gap. Again, dim gap occurs in 2 places, right? But we want to always have our letter height. So we're not going to do a basic dimension, so we won't use this portion of dim gap, but we do need it to be half our letter height down here. Our letter is an 1/8 inch, so you want it set to a 1/16. Now, here's where you've got 2 variables, dim TOH and TIH, which used in different combinations produce horizontal, aligned, or ISO. What we're going to do is actually put the aligned on, which is both of those variables turned on at the same time. Click on align, as that is an architectural standard. I think that's it there. Go to dim fit. Everything here is identical, so just click on dim text. Is the only change we make here. Primary units tab.
The annotation, we don't know?
It should be, yes. If you're in the fit tab and dim anno isn't set on,
It wasn't here first.
then set it here. Primary unit, set dim L unit to an architectural unit. On dim Zin, you can suppress feet, do not suppress inches. Oh, one other thing I meant to mention, because I saw it on a couple drawings. Folks, when we come to the angle dimensions over here on the right, we've always just kind of left it alone and leave it at 0 for precision. And you do have suppression on there, but for the most part, would you use decimal degrees here or would you use something else? Really, you got surveyor units or the other ones. Always leave this decimal. And I never mentioned this in lecture because somebody was kind of surprised when I mentioned it this morning. There is one angle you do not dimension on a drawing.
90 degrees.
90 degrees. Okay, that's why we've never done an angle measurement, because all our surfaces come at 90 almost. There is, any angle other than 90 needs to be dimensioned. Okay, and that's a standard through mechanical, architectural, everywhere. Okay. Now generally in architectural, when I start putting angled walls that are usually 45 degrees or something, I'll put that in my general notes. All walls at 90 or 45. Because if there's a framer out there that can't tell the difference on that in the drawing, he's probably not in business very long. Okay, and they're the ones that build it. Okay. But the standard is 90 degrees is never dimensioned. All other angles are dimensioned. Okay, and that's standard for all industries. All right, so we got that. Now you're done with this. We've pretty much got it set up. Just say OK. Make sure it's set current, and let's go ahead and throw one of those dimensions out there and make sure it looks okay. Yours will look slightly different than mine because I don't have the art style text. Okay, so I'm still using Simplex font. But yours, again, we should be an 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch. You can just kind of visually look at it. Your text should be centered, should be in a fraction format. All right, any questions on that dimension style? On the multi-liter, it is identical to the mechanical, except for your units. So I'm not going to take the time to set one of these up. Let me just go into multi-liter style. So the only thing you're really setting up here is, let's see, we use an arrow, liter structure. Yeah, everything here is the same. You want an annotative, M-text, check your style. Yeah, that's it. And it is using the same text units out of dim style, so you do not have to come through and set this to architectural units, because it uses the dim style units. So I set this up identical to the mechanical. You do use a closed build arrowhead. All right, if you haven't